We're back on League Unlock. Mark and Eric with you guys, and the countdown continues for the LCK Power Rankings on to the top 4. And we've got a team, another team, that went to Worlds in 2018. Wasn't quite as disappointing as Gen G, but again, Korea as a whole, a little bit disappointing. Some big changes for the Afreeca Freecs heading into 2019. Obviously, the biggest change far and away is UCal coming in that mid lane. And with that, their solo lanes are pretty darn exciting.
Yeah, we've talked about this before with the Afreeca Freecs. When they had Kuro in the mid lane, yes, it was still a point of strength for this team. Different story with UCal coming in, and it's a different story for all the right reasons if you're an Afreeca Freecs fan, because this is a power upgrade here for your team, not only right now, but of course into the future as well. With UCal being so young, developing his skills here, this is an exciting lineup for Afreeca Freecs moving into 2019.
And we have Spirit here as the starting jungler. I don't think he's going to get the majority of the starts. They signed Twinkle, who's now renamed to Dread, which, by the way, that has got to be the biggest change, name change, from Twinkle to Dread. Just
that's that 2018 to 2019 glow up right there. Twinkle to Dread, big time change.
Yeah, he's rebelling against something changing that name. But I expect him to probably start a lot of the games he was playing for them in the Kespa Cup. Spirit probably there to kind of help guide him and mentor him. And anytime you have another veteran guy, because this roster is pretty young. Aiming 18, UCal 17, as we've talked about. The biggest question mark is Jelly here, because he just really hasn't played with this squad or played any competitive games for a long time. He played in the Chinese scene for a little bit, and now he played on Kespa with them. But he was with the team for all of 2018, so Aiming and Jelly probably have some inherent synergy there.
Right, certainly have been practicing together. Now the likes of seeing whether this is going to be one of the more dominating supports to come through in the LCK, well, that's a pretty crowded roster there. I don't know if we're going to see that right away. But when you're looking at this Afreeca Freecs roster, and why I'm saying you should be excited here, of course, is when you're looking at it, there are quite a few names here. Keen, Spirit, the likes of obviously his mentorship and his skill there from the times that he spent here in the LCK.
He had a good 2018, too.
He very much so did, kind of reinventing himself and his skill level. A lot of people thought, yeah, you should be the guy kind of sitting on the bench here right from the get-go starting last year, but Durf definitely earned his playing time last year, showing up big time. And I think also, of course, when you're talking about that bottom lane, I think Aiming is certainly someone who will surprise people with the skill level that he will be able to output this year.
And he started 34 games in the regular season to Kramer's 11 in the summer split. And then they ultimately went with Kramer for their playoff run and through to Worlds. But Aiming more than capable of competing with the other LCK 80 carries. Just, deal with the toxicity issues and anything off the rift. And I mean, he's still just an 18-year-old kid, so there's going to be some growing pains and learning that he's going to have to do. So again, having someone like Spirit on that roster to help guide him is only going to prove dividends for them. But we talked about the meta when it came to Gen G and it not being great for them in that bottom lane. Well, Afreeca, they're not playing around their bottom lane. They are playing around the likes of Keen, who was the most dominant top laner in the LCK for 2018, and now bringing in UCal. So it's solo lane central for the Afreeca Freecs, and that's one of the main reasons why we have them 4 ahead of Gen G.
Hey, we talked about that glow up for the jungle name from Twinkle to Dread. You're looking for a 2018 glow up. That was absolutely Keen's performance in the top lane. Definitely a major improvement over what we had seen from him on the likes of Janair before, not really providing anything special. Heads over to the Afreeca Freecs, provides not only the carry potential that they've been needing, but will play those champions, play some of those tank champions, and play them well enough to help support the rest of the team here. That's what we saw last year from him, providing so much value to the Afreeca Freecs. And I think that this is, again, another year, another split here, that he can really cement himself as one of these top laners here, not only in the LCK, but in the world.
And expect him to be put on a lot of carries in that top lane. Akali, whatever you want to roll out there. Aatrox is still going to be a huge pick for them. But how far Afreeca can go, I think top 4 is definitely not out of the question. We have them at number 4, and that's because UCal is going to have a chance to shine in this mid lane. On KT, I don't think he was asked or needed to do as much of the hard carrying when you have an absolutely insane roster like they did. I think there's definitely going to be more emphasis and more resources funneled his way on this squad.
When you're thinking of UCal's time on KT Rolster, it's a little bit different because you're imagining him being a little bit more supportive than I think that his talent and what his actual natural ability would want him to be doing there. You think back to some of these 5-man Galio stunts, which, yeah, let's not say anything bad here about a 5-man Galio stun, but it's not the play that I think that we're going to be seeing from UCal here in his time with the Afreeca Freecs. Expect him on more damage-dealing carries here, even though, yes, Galio still finds his way into the meta every once in a while here, of course.
Best win percentage in solo.
Oh, bro, get out of here. But I will tell you that this is the mid laner that you've been wanting to have if you're Afreeca Freecs. This is that young talent coming through, and not only is he the young talent that you're going to be able to build around for the rest of some time here, he will step up right away and give you those hard carry performances. UCal is a top-notch mid laner. Have no doubts about that.
The question is, can he avoid that coveted sophomore slump? Because now there's a little bit of expectation. We saw what the potential is for this guy, what he's capable of. I mean, laning against the very best mids in the LCK, the likes of Faker and BDD. So now there's a moderate amount of hype, and there's going to be definitely more responsibility and more pressure on his shoulders here in 2019. So can he deliver in his second year as a pro? And the fact that his second year he's going to be turning 18 is still insane.
Right, and hey, you mentioned it though. You're not going to have the safety blanket of Smeb in the top lane, Score in the jungle, and of course Deft down in the bottom side. You're not going to have those type of things to bail you out if you're not winning your matchup, finding those advantages here, especially, of course, given the meta that we're going into, expecting assassins, damage-dealing champions in the mid lane. You got to find a way to get your own advantages at this time. UCal needs to step up, prove his worth here, and be that carry for the Afreeca Freecs.
And it's extra punishing now when you're playing those champions that can snowball out of control in an instant. So yeah, if you're losing any of these matchups, then the game can get out of hand pretty darn quickly. But throughout 2018, I think people were sleeping on the Afreeca Freecs. I think we were at times as well. They ended up qualifying to Worlds by championship points, and I think people might underestimate them yet again here in 2019.
Right, and I think though you do need to remember that yes, there is a missing member here for the Afreeca Freecs, other than of course the playing members. Losing Coach Zepha, the draft king specialist here for the Afreeca Freecs, was a large reason, of course, last year due into their success as well. That will be certainly someone who is missed on this roster.
And Mowgli going over to Vitality, I thought he was going to be the jungler of the future for Afreeca. I thought Spirit would be out, they'd choose him, but they end up going with Dread and Spirit staying on, so we'll see how that works out. But we got the Afreeca Freecs coming in at number 4. That's all the time today for League Unlocked. Eric and Mark with you guys. Thank you for watching.